Every Saturday at the zoo, live wire Derrida, one episode at a time. Season 1 is Ghost. So I'll just frame this and then read this out loud again, because this is like a big guitar riff for Derrida land, the Timaeus and the Khôra. And we're going to find another place in Plato where like inscription's a big deal. And when we say like these metaphors that Plato has, we can discard them. Here's going to be another case where that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So here, in any case, the turns of phrase that are somewhat awkwardly called Plato's metaphors are exclusively and irreducibly scriptural. Let us, for example, point to a sign of this awkwardness, the awkwardness of calling them, Plato's metaphors, in a certain preface to the Timaeus. So he's being mean about someone prefacing the Timaeus. In order to conceive a place, one must always, through a process of abstraction that is almost unrealizable. That's wild. Almost unrealizable in practice, separate or detach an object from the place it occupies. How could that mental operation be almost unrealizable? Abstracting thing. It's like either you can do it or you can't. Okay, this abstraction, however difficult, is nevertheless imposed on us by the very fact of change, since two different objects cannot coexist in the same place, and since, without changing place, the same object can become other. So this is what my head is doing as I'm reading this. Okay, but then we find ourselves unable to represent place itself except by metaphors. Plato used several quite different ones, which have greatly confused modern readers. I love classes, dude. I love them. Like, they make me laugh. Okay, the place, the locus, that in which things appear, that upon which they manifest themselves, the receptacle, the matrix, the mother, the nurse. All these expressions make us think of, do they? Make us think of space, which contains things. Do you hear mother and you think, oh yeah, space, which contains. But later on, it is a question of the impression bearer, the formless base, the completely inodorous substance, so not any of us, on which the perfume maker can fix the scent, the soft gold on which the jeweler can impress many diverse figures. Civil Boudet edition. Page. Okay, here is the passage beyond all Platonic oppositions toward the aporia of the originary inscription. So just BT dubs, we're going to see like Plato himself saying Khôra is like beyond any Platonic opposition. Beyond the sensible and the intelligible is neither sensible nor intelligible, can't be contained by this opposition, which is like a big eyebrow raise for any reader of Plato, certainly for Derrida. Okay. Then we made two classes. So we're in the Timaeus and we're like classing everything in the universe. The Timaeus is a beautiful text and it tries to just account for and list everything that's ever existed. So then we made two classes. Now a third must be revealed. The two suffice for the former discussion. This is sensible and intelligible. One we assumed was a pattern, paradigmatos or tupos, intelligible and always the same. And second was only the imitation of the pattern, so sensible, generated and visible. There is also a third kind, which we did not distinguish at the time, conceiving that the two would be enough, sensible and intelligible. But now the argument seems to require that we should set forth in words another kind, which is difficult of explanation and dimly seen. I forget what I don't know if they say dreamily here. Classists are really fast and loose, so it could be, the dreamy thing could be here. I'd have to go look at the Greek. What nature, we're talking about Khôra. Khôra, Greek word for place, okay, among other things, receptacle. What nature are we to attribute to this new kind of being? We reply that it is the receptacle, in a manner the nurse, of all generation. So, mama, sort of. This nurse must be always called the same, for inasmuch as she always receives all things, she never departs at all from her own nature. So she's the principle of all difference, so she cannot herself be different to herself. So something that governs all change, receives all change, cannot itself change, because it would have to receive that, and its reception can't change. I'm going fast, but I'm trying to gloss this as I go. This nurse must be always called the same, for inasmuch as she always receives all things, she never departs at all from her own nature, and never, in any way at any time, assumes a form like that of any of the things which enter into her, so she's never anything like the sensible intelligible. She is the natural recipient of all impressions, and is stirred and informed by them, and appears different from time to time by reason of them. But the forms which enter into and go out of her are the likenesses of eternal realities, modeled within her after their patterns. So, we get tupo too with patterns. We get tupo thenta. I don't know what thenta means here. In a wonderful and mysterious manner, which we will hereafter investigate. So all the types, the eidos, the intelligible, all appear through her and go in and out of her, imprint on her without changing her. For the present, we have only to conceive of three natures. First, that which is in process of generation. Secondly, that in which the generation takes place. And thirdly, that of which the thing generated is a resemblance naturally produced. So we have intelligible, sensible, and it seems like, secondly, we've moved, previously it was the third kind, right? It's a little confusing. Now I think Khôra is the second kind, that in which the generation takes place. And we may liken the receiving principle to a mother, and the sorcerer spring to a father. The sorcerer spring being the eidos, the intelligible. So Plato still is trying to get this mother typo imprinty writing thing to be, now we have this, before earlier it kind of seemed like it was going to be prior to, and in a sense above, all the sensible intelligible. Now it seems like we're ringing it back in, we're lassoing it back in, and now it's going to be, the sorcerer spring is going to be the father. And the intermediate nature of the sensible to a child. Everything sensible is either on the way to being the good, resembling an eidos being a tupos, or not, is fallen, is like a stunted process, is a stillborn, failed process. And may remark further that if the model is to take every variety of form, then the matter in which the model is fashioned will not be duly prepared unless it is formless and free from the impress of any of those shapes which it is hereafter to receive from without. So the mother has to be completely purified of form if it's going to be able to receive any form. If it has any form remaining in it, if it's got any forminess, then that's going to impede imprinting a form on it correctly. It can't be inseminated. It can't be copied onto. It's like printing onto a sheet of paper that already has something on it, right? If you've printed on a sheet of paper that already has something on it, it doesn't print, it prints over it. It doesn't print as well. Do you have to have, it has to be like a white sheet or like a completely formless jello, something that you can print onto that has nothing to it, that's completely, this has to be completely heterogeneous to the eidos, right? Completely heterogeneous to the forms, completely heterogeneous to the types, where it cannot function, right? And this is all according to Plato. Wherefore the mother and receptacle of all created and visible and in any way sensible things is not to be termed earth or air or fire or water or any of their compounds or any of the elements from which these are derived. Aristotle famously interprets this Khôra as matter. He sees Khôra and he's like, that's matter. This is a shitty reading of Plato, right? This is not, it's not Aristotle's only shitty reading of Plato. It's a very shitty reading of Plato here. That Plato's emphatic that this doesn't have anything to do with matter. This doesn't sound like matter at all. Matter is the sensible thing on the way to different stuff, right? This is prior to matter. This is what would allow matter to take on a form. So it's neither form nor matter, neither form nor content, neither sensible nor intelligible. But is an invisible and formless being. Does that sound like matter to you? That's not hula. No. Which receives all things and in some mysterious way partakes of the intelligible and is most incomprehensible. The Khôra is big with everything that is disseminated here. We'll go into that elsewhere. So this is like an unforgivable Barbara Johnson translation mistake. This is, I can tell you without even looking at the French, the Khôra is pregnant, not big. Is big with grossesse is pregnancy in French, big in so if the Khôra is it's pregnant with everything that is disseminated here, not is big. Presence is a ghost, and he is thy father's spirit. Like, comment, haunt, and subscribe.